Well, hey everyone, and welcome to our Scandinavian Lakehouse Retreat. This build is a collaboration between one of my dearest friends Noki Tony on Instagram or Nocturnal R on Twitter and I. The speedbuild will be split into two parts, with the second part being on his channel and the first one being on mine. Anyway, we decided to split this project in half, which means that I did the exterior with landscaping and Noki worked on the interior. That honestly blew my mind when I first saw it. I really hope you guys check out Noki, as he is extremely talented and kind. All of his socials will be linked down below in the description together with his part of the speed build. I highly recommend following him, as in my opinion he's one of the best Bloxburg builders and great inspiration for your own builds. Moving on, I'd like to talk about the house itself. It has 4 bedrooms and 3.5 bathrooms. That's the perfect amount of bedrooms and bathrooms if you ask me. I envision a celebrity using this house as a vacation home or lake house, where they'd spend a few weeks of their summer off-grid enjoying the nature around them. Of course, there are many guest bedrooms, which apply that a lot of people can stay here. Perfect for people who had too much to drink at parties. My favorite part is how open it feels in the upstairs hallway and, of course, main living area. The deck outside would probably be the place I'd spend the most time relaxing, tanning, even swimming. While building the outside, I was looking at the Swedish landscape and tried to make it as accurate as possible. Used colors I never have before, and I was surprisingly really happy with the final outcome. I hope you guys like this change from my usual suburban builds. And before I go, I'd like to give credits to people whose hacks we used in this speed build. The custom pillow design is originally by Describe but improved by FloatRoblox. A couple other hacks made by Float include the floor decal hack, slanted skylight trick, custom tree idea. And I would also like to thank Float for major interior inspo. And we would like to give credits to another person who you may know as Yellow Carnation for the floating hack, which I use in almost every build of mine. All their social media will be linked in the description. I highly appreciate if you gave them a follow. Anyway, I'll let you enjoy the tour, and I hope to see you in the voiceover. Well, that is it for the tour. Keep watching for floor plans and speed build. Before we move on to this speed build, I wanted to show you guys how to fix your roof. Since on this build, it glitches out once you reload the plot. It's very simple and only takes 1 minute to do. All you have to do is place 3 walls, 1 in the middle and 2 on each side. Then you delete the parts that stick out and undo everything. That's simple, right? Well, anyway, I'll be waiting for you in the voiceover. Well, hey, how are we doing? How are we hanging in there? How are we holding up? Is everything okay? I hope that you guys are all okay, obviously, and it's nice to see you all after what, 2-3 weeks now? I don't even remember the last time I uploaded. And you may be thinking, where have you been? What have you been doing in those past 2-3 weeks? And well, the answer is actually kind of simple. If you really want a genuine answer, it was just, I was lazy of uploading. And I mean, I have a few builds to post, I definitely do. Well, this one being the first one, I have like a Sims 4 speed build that I finished like ages ago, but just never got to editing. Actually, I think it has been 2 weeks since this house was like finished, since I finished it. Well, actually, both of us finished it since this is a collab with my friend Noki. It's very sad that he couldn't be here today, but he couldn't make it, and well, that's completely understandable. And yeah, I'll sadly just be alone today. But either way, I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to post again. Not quite sure how many uploads it will be, but I did just finish a collab, a party in a collab with my other friend. You may know him as Funds, I know him as Luke. We're obviously great friends, and we decided to just do another collab, and yeah, it's a mid-century house. We are still obviously working on it, but I am really excited to reveal the house to you guys. It's definitely one of my favorite builds I've done with anyone, and well, same with this house. I really tested out my landscaping skills when it comes to this house. I used different colors, and I was just trying to recreate the Swedish landscape. I'm not quite sure how I did. I would like to think that I did a decent job, but I guess you guys are the judges of that, and yeah, I mean, this house, honestly, it was a bit hard to do since I do have zero experience in recreating Scandinavian houses or architecture in general. As you can tell, like, the house is definitely very Scandinavian, very Norwegian, Swedish maybe? Perhaps. And well, I kind of had like a good idea for the back, but I never really figured out what I want to do with the front. So what I did, I just basically looked up Scandinavian houses on Google, and I literally recreated the first house I saw because I really liked it. Well, the front. So that's why you probably might think that the front is very familiar. That's because it's a house in real life, and I really like that house. I didn't really look at the back though, so I'm not quite sure what it looks like. But the front always like really looked awesome, and I really love these logs. I use different types of basic shapes to recreate logs to maybe make it a bit more realistic. As you may know, not all logs in real life are actually round. Some of them are just like split in half. Some of them are like shaped like triangles. It's actually really weird, but it's like that. So yeah, like I was trying to look at that when I recreated the whole thing. And well, this basically whole hour is just gonna be me landscaping. It won't be that long until I finish the whole house. Because the house, it doesn't look big, but for some reason it is 4 bedrooms. I have no idea how like I managed to make it so big. And while Noki did an awesome job with the interior, he really used the space really well, and it definitely looks Scandinavian to me. I also added a lot of skylights on the interior to make it more airy, and I actually do think that it looks like a lot more airy because of the skylights. My favorite place in the whole house, on the interior at least, it probably has to be the upstairs hallway, where you see that like huge cutout in the ceiling and like the huge skylight. I really love the way that like place looks, and it's like you can go up the stairs and feel that sunlight coming in. It's really cool. Especially with the Bloxburg sun rays, I think it definitely makes the whole place look really good. And well, with the landscaping, there's actually a few parts that I want to mention. So what I noticed with Scandinavian landscape, it's very rocky. It has a lot of rocks, and I actually learned about that in geography. So I think that like if you're gonna try to recreate the Swedish landscape, it's very important to know how rocky it is, and that's basically why the whole lake is kind of surrounded with rocks. and there's really no access, or there's no sand access, if that makes any sense. I think that's like a cool attention to detail. Like, I was really happy with it. I was really happy of noticing that. And that's why you can see some rock hills. Or, like, it's not even, no, it's caves. What am I saying? You can see some caves through the kitchen window. Same with, like, the living room. Of course, you can't, like, enter them, but I think it's not like you're really gonna spend a lot of time out there, you know? You're gonna spend most of your time in the house. So I was thinking about the view more than I was thinking about functionality. And well, yeah. The house itself, I really wanted to make custom paneling, but I kind of gave up and then just decided to use the regular Bloxburg textures. Don't think it looks really bad, but could have been better if I made it custom. But on the other hand, the house only takes up 40% block data. You might think it would take up more because of how much it costs, but we can all blame it on the lake, first of all, and then the landscaping kind of went ham on that. I basically landscaped the whole plot. I remember taking 2 days to finish it all. It's a bit, yeah, I don't know, just for landscaping, that's a bit much, but I did have a good time doing it all. And so, yeah, that's basically it about the landscaping. Like, at first I really wanted to do custom trees, but then I was like, am I nuts? Should I? Then I decided not to. So you can see one custom tree at the front, but yeah, there's none on the back or anywhere else. So there's that too. And oh wow, I also just realized I started coloring immediately, which I usually don't do, because what I usually like to do is I like to place all the windows first and do all the detailing, the exterior detailing, and then color everything. I find it that easier, so I don't know why I did it otherwise in this build. But well, I kind of didn't. It's tricky because I did the front detailing first, and then I got to coloring, but I didn't do the whole house. So I guess it kind of counts as me doing the whole thing first and then coloring it. Okay. And well, right now you can see me doing the floor plan. I was actually pretty happy with how the floor plan came out. The bedrooms turned out to be small though, which was not the best thing in the world. I wish they were a tiny bit bigger, but that's completely my fault. And here you can see me making custom windows. I decided to make these huge windows without borders. Well, there are borders, but you couldn't make Bloxburg windows that big. I don't think you could. Or maybe you couldn't. I'm just making a fool of myself by making the windows 10 times expensive that they could have been. But doesn't matter. And what else was I meant to say? Oh, right. The lights. I don't know if you saw them at the front. I was actually kind of proud of that idea. I don't know if you guys could see the lights at the front of the house, but those, I used the box thingies, the box lights, and I made custom lights out of them, which I think look pretty cool. And if you paint them, what's the color again, Flint? They actually do turn out to look pretty damn nice. And yeah, right now you can see me working on the side. I would like to call it as an extension, but if this house was built in real life, it probably would have been a new house. So maybe, I don't even know what technically is an extension. Like, I don't know when it counts as an extension, you know, because, like, technically, an extension would be something that would be added, you know, a few years after the house. Or actually, no, I don't know. I guess we can call this an extension, because maybe, you know, the people who originally designed this house made it a bit too small, and so the clients didn't like it. Didn't like how small it was, so they made an extension. I guess that would count. Because I guess it's like an extension is a part that doesn't come with the original floor plan. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. You see, look at me figure things out. And here you can see me working on the skylight thing. I first saw Float do it, and he's honestly a genius for coming up with this. It's like insane as to how many hacks of his I use in my own builds, but they're just too good not to use, you know what I mean? Honestly, huge props to Float for coming up with such creative things. Like, I personally would have never thought of that. You know, I can recreate custom furniture. Like, I can recreate furniture, but coming up with stuff like this, that takes some brain power, doesn't it? But I also did really like this small part where I added like some greenery. And that's why you can see bushes on the second floor through the staircase. I find that pretty damn cool. I suppose I'm just calling them cool because I'd really love to see stuff like this in my own house. And best believe if I'll be able to design my own house, I'll have stuff like this in my own place. Like, can you imagine how cool that would be? Can you imagine? If you just have like a massive skylight in your own house, or like bushes on the second floor, such a dream. But yeah, actually I thought I could tell you guys the story of how Noki and I decided to do this collab. My collabs with like Noki are always so random. Honestly, it's like the most unexpected, they always happen in the most unexpected way. Our last collab, basically Noki would just DM me on Instagram. He was like, I need your help with something, can you come help me? And I was like, yeah, sure. And so I did the thing, and then he was like, do you want to do that? I think we just decided to do the whole thing together. And that's how our Mediterranean collab was born. Speaking of Mediterraneans, I really, really want to do one soon. But I'll get to that a bit later. Don't want to drift off topic. But yeah, and so with this build, I don't know if, I think, okay, maybe not all of you have seen the French Chateau speed build. I think, well, basically Noki was a guest on one of the voiceovers, and well, we randomly started talking about houses that we would want to do in the future, and our conversation kind of moved on to like Scandinavian houses, and we both kind of said that we would like to do Scandinavian lake houses, as they're kind of popular right now in the Sims community. They're really pretty houses. If you were to look up Scandinavian lake houses, like on the Sims, you'd actually find some pretty nice ones. And so after we finished recording the voiceover, like over a few days, we just started sending each other houses that we had saved of like Scandinavian builds, and somehow most of the houses we have saved turned out to be really similar. Like the house that we have saved, they turned out to be really similar. And so we were like, okay, so why not, let's just do a collab then. And yeah, that's how we did this. So it was a very random collab again, but I really did enjoy it. I really, really did. And I obviously want to thank Noki for agreeing to build with me, as I had a lot of fun doing the exterior. And well, he obviously did an amazing job on the exterior. I hope you guys agree. And well, yeah. That's just basically the story of how we started working on it. Honestly, when I first saw the kitchen and the living room, I was so shocked. I was genuinely really, really surprised. It was such a good build. Such a good build. And well, I was actually pretty happy with how the outside turned out, like at least of the house itself. The landscaping too. I think the landscaping definitely pulled the whole build together, and yeah, I don't know, it turned out okay. I feel like I still didn't do as good as Noki did with the interior, but I don't know, I'm not like really unhappy with my exterior. Anyway though, I remember like I've said, the lake is very expensive, but I remember just putting the lake and seeing all my money go down. Like I was working for like 3 hours to get to like, I don't know, 250k I think it was, and then just moments later, in 50 minutes, I managed to spend all the money, and I had to go back to work and work for like another 2.5 hours, which was the funniest thing in the world. So it was a bit sad because this money definitely ate up my money. This house definitely ate up my money. It's fine. And yeah, the deck. I think I also really, really love the deck. Like, at least the way it came out. I think that Noki's custom furniture also really, complemented the deck itself. Like, I really love the way it turned out. And yeah. Like, there's just all the colors and everything. I really do like it. And Noki said that he didn't like the way it turned out, but I absolutely loved it, and I hope he knows that. Yeah, honestly, I was really happy to be able to collab with him, and it was an honor. I think I'm repeating myself at this point. And I have also noticed one thing, and that is that there's almost 25,000 of us on this channel. Honestly, it's it's surreal. I can't believe it's actually happening. I've already said this, but like when I started YouTube, I never ever expected to get this far. And I really do want to thank each and one of you for sticking around for this long. I mean, I've posted like tens of builds. Doesn't sound like a lot, but definitely took up a lot of my time, and like it honestly means the world to see that like I have people who definitely love my builds and come back to my channel. I realized that I like have a lot of like supporters who come back to my channel once I have a new build, and that genuinely means a lot to me as a builder. And I'm really happy that I have builds that inspire you guys to make your own. Some of you even recreate my houses, which is probably the coolest thing in the world for me. I actually saw a few of you tag me in posts where you guys are in my builds, in the recreations. And it was just so cool. I actually even reposted a few, so if you have recreated one of my builds, and you just happen to post one of your recreations of my speed builds, I'll probably repost it because it's so cool to me, and it definitely makes my day when you guys do this. So honestly, just a huge thank you to all of you, to all of those who have supported me throughout the years. And I continue to stay here and make builds for you guys. Speaking of future plans, I know I always talk about them, and I know that there's usually a lot of them. And some go through, some don't. It's usually the ones that I have planned over the next few weeks, like that usually go through. But there are also some that I just never get to. So I have posted like a sneak peek at the start of the summer of builds that I'd post in June, which now it's August and I haven't posted any yet. So, I'm gonna try to not do that with builds that like still have a lot of work that needs to be done. So like, for example, the Dutch Colonial and the Cape Cod. I actually have received questions on it, like in multiple community posts, I mean, and just comments of different videos. So to answer your question, those builds aren't gonna go anywhere. I won't delete them, but I'm just not sure when I'll probably get to them. As I'm not just like, I don't know. They're smaller builds, and I'm not necessarily motivated to do them, but I really hope that motivation will come one day, and so that's exactly why I'm keeping them. And so I don't know when those builds are gonna come, but hopefully one day I'll just wake up and be in the mood to finish them. Actually, same with the French Chateau. I'm still working on this country build. Probably that one will get finished soon, since I am building it for my friend, and it's just taking longer than expected. And I have a few other builds planned, actually like 4. One's almost done, the other 3 are still planned. So I'm hoping that the second one will be finished by the end of September, and while the other 2 will probably just be worked on during fall, which I'm not excited for because school is gonna come. And honestly, I had a really good summer, and like it's still not completely over, still have like a week and a half to enjoy it, and so I'll try my best to do that. But yeah, and also I think there's one more thing that I wanted to mention, which was I'm thinking of maybe starting this series. Well, it's like I kind of started already a long time ago, and I've been doing it for like months now. But I want to like do this series where I just build dream houses for people or myself. So it's not the first, like I've already done builds like that, but I think I should just make an official series. Where I just build these huge mansions or recreate mansions for my friends. So far, I think I've done 3, which is the Hamptons house. That was a vacation home for my friend Stacy, who is an awesome friend of mine. You guys know a lot about her. I always talk about her, and we've had this really close friendship for years now. Well, actually a year, but we've known each other for longer. And so I've done the Hamptons house for her. Then there was the suburban mansion, which is to this day the most popular upload of mine. You guys really seem to enjoy that house, and well, it makes me really happy. But yeah, that was also like a dream house for my friend Lena. Um, and then there was one more, and it was the modern farmhouse, I think. Well, yeah, it was that one. And I built that for my friend Toby, who used to be my main mod in my Discord server. I used to have a Discord server, but I decided to terminate it, and so I still see a couple people asking if I have a Discord server. And to answer your question, I sadly did not have a Discord server anymore. It was deleted, and I don't think I'm gonna make one anytime soon. I might open my neighborhood again. That is, I don't know, a question for the future that I still need to find the answer to. But so far, I'm actually just thinking of doing that. Sometimes I like to hang out at my friend Joe's neighborhood, so if you guys would like to meet me in game, the biggest chance of meeting me will probably be at my friend Joe's. You know her as Joe Mama. And her neighborhood is Joe Mama 0019. So that's her username, and if you type that in, you're gonna join her neighborhood. And so I usually hang out there. Sometimes I build alone in an empty server, and sometimes I build, with you guys. I've actually met some of you, and you all of you are actually so sweet. It always makes me so motivated when I hear that people like my stuff and that they want to see more. Like, honestly, to every builder, I think that, like, just compliments of someone saying that, like, they'd like to see more of your stuff, it really motivates you. It makes you want to do more and continue to do what you do. And that's actually why I love doing this whole YouTube thing and building, and I enjoy it, and you guys love it, and so it's so motivating. It really is. But yeah, so I guess I kind of gave you the idea whether you want to join my server. I guess you guys should comment down below if you'd be interested in that and if I should actually do it. So yeah, I guess right now it's just like an idea, but maybe eventually it will become a thing. Let's hope so. But yeah, enough of getting sappy. I guess I've already started working on landscaping, as you can tell. How much money do I have? I forgot to check, but like I basically put down the whole lake, and yeah, I had to, and I had only 60,000 left, which is not the most. That's not, yeah, that's a bit unfortunate, but it's fine. I mean, I remember working after, and it was fine. It was just, yeah, I remember working a lot for this build, but you know what? It was actually really worth it because Noki did an amazing job, and I'd absolutely love to collab with him again. Same goes with any of the people I've collabed with before. I had fun in most of my collabs. Actually, all of them. I don't think there was ever a collab that I didn't like doing. And so, I'm really glad that I found collabs enjoyable, because like I've had multiple conversations with other builders, and apparently not everyone has good experiences. I guess that's true. You don't always have good experiences in life, so it's just a part of it. But yeah, that's basically all about the servers. And well, actually, I would like to talk about the speed build, the Sims 4 speed build that I have coming up. As of now, I'm just a bit unmotivated to work on it, but yeah, I made like a Sims 4 speed build, and I actually do really like it. It's like a manor, and yeah, let me know if you guys would be interested in seeing it. I think I'll probably just post it anyway. So I guess that's gonna be coming very soon, but I really did enjoy working on that build. It's in Hemford and Bagley, that's like the new Sims 4 world. It's kind of like a Georgian manor, which I think fits in with the landscaping perfectly. And yeah, I'm just really excited for you guys to see the build. Obviously, I haven't really built on The Sims in like ages, because I just generally don't have the time to do so with all the builds I'm working on right now. But I'll try to record the voiceover for that build as soon as I have the time to do so. And you can finally see me start to landscape. It was definitely a bit tricky, but once I got into the whole thing, it wasn't as hard. It was just to start. It was just the start that was a bit tricky, but it became easier as time went on. And you can see me placing all the rocks I was talking about earlier. It's actually kind of like, well, surprising, but not really in a way, that like the whole landscaping is like very rocky. And I mean, to me, that's very pretty, People prefer different things though. And I used Yellow Carnation's floating hack to place the rocks inside the water. I also had this this good idea, but I was just too lazy to do it, to maybe do like underwater caves, since this is a whole lake. But I was just like, well, maybe in the future. So if you are rebuilding this house and you'd like to have something more on it, I recommend you do those caves since you have plenty of plot data. And I think it would be just a cool addition to the house itself, just like having caves, and it would be like an activity that you could do with your friends and stuff to just explore them. And so, yeah. And I mean, if any of you actually do recreate this house and do those caves, please tag me, or tag me on Twitter or Instagram. I'd love to see it. And I think you guys would definitely pull it off and do something really cool. I do think that this house is definitely like a vacation home. Not like a place that you'd live in, but you know, could always make it a place that you live in. I feel like if I'm gonna use this house for RP, it's probably just gonna be vacation purposes, which I think is fine. I kind of do envision like a huge celebrity living here, as it is extremely pretty and everything. Well, to me, it's very pretty. I guess people find different things pretty, but I really genuinely did love this build a lot. And here you can see me making the deck. As I'm watching this speed build, I kind of I'm starting to remember that I made the deck that's on water and the other deck different colors, which I don't know if I should have done that. I guess it doesn't look too horrible, but maybe looking back on it, I probably would have changed it and made it the same color. I guess if you're rebuilding this, you can like modify it and make it yourself, which I hope you guys do. I hope you guys add your own improvements, and yeah. But I guess that's all about the build. I don't know what else to say, really. Tried to mention everything I wanted to say, and well, if I have something more, I guess I'll just bring it up. But as of now, I guess there are like a few life updates since the last voiceover, as a lot of you knew, and still probably know. I wasn't home. I was actually kind of on vacation for like a whole month. So like I was still able to make videos, but it was just a bit harder. And right now I'm back home. So now I have way more free time, and I'm just able to make videos whenever I want to, which is also really amazing. Plus, Wi-Fi here is much better, I have to admit. The last time I was trying to, basically, with the suburban house, I was trying to do a premiere. And some of you probably don't know, but we had this crisis. It was a very sad moment. And basically, YouTube just decided to take forever with upload, and we waited for like an hour, and it just never happened. I felt so bad. And so, yeah, it was really sad. But I'm not sure when I'm gonna do a premiere next. I doubt this video will be a premiere, but I guess time will tell. You guys will know. Me on the other hand, I don't know yet. It will honestly depend on what I decide to do. But yeah, so Wi-Fi was definitely much better here, so I'm happy about that. And while and now I guess it's just better to remember things that happened while I was on vacation. There were so many funny things and so many fun stories. Honestly, I might even tell one today. It's so bad. I was genuinely so unlucky that day. Like, literally so unlucky. Oh boy, where do I even start? So I think the day was like Saturday, if I'm correct. And since I was like on the coast, the weather is kind of unpredictable there. I was looking at the weather forecast, and it said that there would be no rain for the rest of the day, but you know, there will be rain in the evening or during nighttime. So I was like, okay, that's fine. It's like good weather to go on a bike ride. So now you may be wondering, and you might have an idea as to where this is going. I've already talked about this place before, but like when I'm on vacation, I usually go to this town. There are two towns right next to each other, and I go to one of them, but I usually like to hang out at the other one too, and they're like 10 kilometers apart, so it's definitely not like a far ride. And between the towns, there's this trail that was made for like bikes and different electric scooters and all those things, skateboards, and the rest. I'm too lazy to name them all right now. But so yeah, I decided to, I think I was frustrated that day, don't remember why, but I was just frustrated. And when I'm frustrated, the best thing that, like, helps me calm down is probably just, like, a bike ride or, like, a workout. And so, I had my bike with me, and I just took it out for a ride. And so I looked at the weather forecast and I saw that the weather is like acceptable for a bike ride. And so I was just like, okay, why not? Let's just go on the bike ride. And so I did. And like I said before, it's like a 15-kilometer ride. Well, like a 15-kilometer drive between the towns. So let me look up how much that is in miles. Okay, 50. Okay, so that's like almost 10 miles. That's almost 10 miles. So it's not that far, definitely isn't. But so, yeah, what I did was I was just driving. I was having fun. Well, no, not really. I wasn't having fun. I was just driving. I was just riding my bike, like a normal person would, and everything seemed very fine. I had music on. By the way, I may say that, like, driving a bike and listening to music is probably one of the best things you can do. I genuinely have so much fun doing that, and I love it. I love listening to music and driving a bike, riding a bike. So I was doing that, and everything was, like, fine. Everything seemed great. I got, like, halfway through the trail. I may add that it was 10 miles and 15 kilometers for each repeat. Okay, well, here are the conversions. You guys know them. And I got halfway through, right? Everything was so good. And then my dad calls all of a sudden. He's just like, Lucas, you gotta go back, because apparently my dad was on, like, at the other town, and I was driving to the town where my dad's at from the one where we live. Hope that makes sense. And I was midway through, and since my dad was, like, at the town I was going to, he was like, you better go back before, because, well, you better go back now, because there's rain. And it's, like, raining really heavily. I was like, oh, no. And I may add that, like, that trail, there's really nowhere to hide, because it's just woods and fields, for, like, 10 and 50 miles straight. So, yeah, it was bad. And so, I quickly turn around, and I'm, like, driving as fast as I can, and basically playing cat and mouse with rain at that point. It was not fun, you know, but, like, I drove, like, I don't know, 2 miles, 4 kilometers no. Yeah, I think it was actually 2 miles, and, like, I'm just driving, right? I'm, like, going really, really quickly, and I start feeling rain, like, just tiny drops of rain on my hands, and I'm like, no, there's no way, because well, obviously, I was only 2 miles in, and I had, like, 3 more to go. And I'm like, no, this cannot be happening. And so I'm like, trying to go even faster, and even faster. Well, guess where I ended up? It started pouring so heavily, and it was so bad, and I was still driving in the rain. I don't know why I was doing that. So, eventually, after, like, 3 minutes of driving and, like, rain, I decided that it was best if I just, stop under a tree and hide there. You know, this is not where the story ends, don't worry. Oh god. Okay, so, obviously it was in a hurry, because it's raining really heavily, and I had really good clothes on. I had, like, my favorite clothes on. And I was like, no, this cannot be happening. And so I stop under a tree, and well, obviously was not really paying attention to who's behind me, and what's in front of me. Well, I was paying attention to what's in front of me, but I never even thought for a second to see if there's anyone behind me. And what I do, I stopped in the middle of the road, in the middle of the trail, and apparently there was a guy right behind me. No, this is the part that I felt really bad about. Since I stopped in the middle of the road, the guy behind me, he basically flew into the bushes. He was so mad at me. He literally started cussing me out, and it was so awkward. I was like, sorry. I didn't even say sorry. I was just standing there awkwardly because I didn't know what to do. And so after that incident, I completely, like, I just immediately moved my bike to the side. Thankfully, no one else was behind me, but there were people across, because, I mean, the trail's kind of wide. There were people across, like, on the other side of the trail, and they were all looking at they saw the whole thing. And there were, like, I think there were 3 friends, right? And there were 2 girls and a guy. And one of the girls, she looks at me and gives me the, stupid sign. Like, you know how there's, like, I don't know if it's part of sign language, but, she just basically showed this gesture indicating that you're stupid. I was like, excuse me? Excuse me? I was like, humiliated. I was like, huh? That took a lot to process, and I was driving the whole way. Well, I stayed under that tree for like 2 or 3 minutes because I couldn't handle the embarrassment, so I had to go somewhere. So I was still driving under pouring rain. But it, like, I was like over that, the whole, like, over the rain at that point. I cared about the thing that happened more. And I just can't handle the embarrassment, so I left, and I was driving and everything, and, well, the rain passed and everything, but it's still, like, that gesture, that lady, she really got on my nerves. Like, I still remember that whole thing, and I'm like, things happen, you don't have to tell me I'm stupid. Like, kind of know that myself. Anyway, so, it was just... That lady really just made me so mad about the whole thing. I was like, are you kidding me? Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, but the guy he got out of the bushes and he drove away. So I didn't get reported to the police, thankfully. Didn't get arrested. I don't think he can get arrested for that, but my consciousness still thinks I should have gotten arrested for that. Anyway, because there's, like, still rules you have to follow when driving a bike. It's so weird. I don't know. Right, and so, after that incident, while driving back home in the rain, I generally just didn't want to stop so, like, I wouldn't have to see anyone who saw the situation. But it was, like, so awkward, because the guy drove away, and it was just me standing on one side, and those 3 friends on the other. They were all looking at me, thinking, I was like, oh god, what are they thinking about? They probably thought how stupid I am. I was like, okay, wow. Let's see how this is. Like, the audacity. Like, I'm still speechless remembering the situation. You know, you wouldn't experience this on every day. Every day. Definitely not. It was so bad. So yeah, that's what happened. I'm really wishing that you guys had, like, never have to experience something like this. And if you did, I'm so sorry. You know, because we all make mistakes, and this was genuine. Like, it's not like I did it on purpose. Like, I'm sorry we were all running from the rain. Oh my god. Yeah. It was just a lot. A lot to take in. And I was driving back home, I was like, that did not just happen. And you know what? When that, like, after the whole situation, the only thing I could really think of was just to tell you guys what happened. Because it was so ridiculous. It genuinely is still ridiculous to me. And, like, me being socially anxious, I thought I was gonna die because of how embarrassing it was. Good thing the next time I went on that trail, nothing similar happened, which I'm still thankful. Honestly, just imagine if it happened again. Well, actually, I didn't even get to the town I was going to, but, yeah, the second time I was going, everything, like, seemed fine. I drove to the town, I got back, and it was really great. So yeah. I really do enjoy driving my bike. I don't know why, like, because I used to do that all the time when I was smaller, when I was 12, I think. And I somehow abandoned that hobby. Well, I guess you could call it a hobby, but, like, yeah, I kind of abandoned it, and then I never did it again, and so... I think only this summer I finally started to touch it again, which I'm kind of glad that I really did do that. I remember one time I was like 12 or something. Oh my god, that was another lesson that I learned, that I'm glad I learned, because I think I might have told this before, but I don't even remember what day it was. I just remember that, like, I was going out with friends. Well, like, I was driving with friends, because my friends and I used to, like, take our bikes and just drive around the town. And there's this, like, road. It's like an exit from a highway. Well, not like a highway, but, like an interstate. there was an exit to the interstate going to like the city, and I had to cross it in order to get back home. And it's kind of weird because it's like an exit road, but then it's like an actual road too. But like you could drive kind of quick there, like the speed limit isn't low. And so there's like the speed limit isn't low, and there's like cars parked on the side. So I was supposed to cross from the side that had cars to the one that didn't, and it was a one-way road, right? And so while I was crossing, I didn't really look at cars coming in, and I couldn't really see anything because I was like behind a car and it was blocking, and so obviously the drivers couldn't see anything either. And yeah, I mean, you can kind of tell where this is going. Thankfully, well, so basically I decided to just do it and drive. Honestly wish I never did that, but I basically drove out, right, into the middle of the road, and there was a car coming, and it was so, like, it was driving really quick, and I basically almost got hit by a car. Like, they literally stopped right next to me, and he was so mad at me, like the driver. I felt so bad. I haven't told my mom about this or my parents because I genuinely think they wouldn't allow me to drive a bike basically anywhere or anytime because of that. But so they still don't know. But I still remember that. I'm like, how could I have been this stupid? Literally could have almost died there. Please. Getting hit while on the bike, that's so scary. Or just when you're walking, like, just imagine getting hit by a car. Like, hell no. I don't want that happening to me. So, yeah, I don't know. As a socially anxious person, I was in a lot of situations that like, I wish I wasn't in. I actually have a lot more to tell, so maybe in the next voiceover I will. But yeah, I don't know. I might end this voiceover early, since I have a few other things to do, but, I guess it was really nice talking to you all. Like I said before in the tour, the second and the third part, I think, I'm not sure how many parts Noki will do, but they will all be on his YouTube channel, which will be linked down below in the description. I'd really appreciate if you guys check him out, you know, and subscribe to him, because he really deserves it. He's, in my opinion, he's definitely one of the best builders in Bloxburg, and his stuff always inspires me. And so, yeah, I hope to see you in the next voiceover, and I hope that you subscribe to Noki. But yeah, thanks to everyone who's stayed around. I'm kind of happy to have finally recorded another voiceover. I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys! And it's something that I can't hide, yeah. When I'm with you, I'm tongue-tied. No, no, you're not that dramatic, but I'm out of you, I'm an addict. I can't get enough, and I know that I'm not usually your type. Darling, there's no need to be shy. See the curiosity. See the curiosity.
to end. Eternal, I will lie again.
We don't know what will happen tomorrow, but I hope a good surprise. I could flip all the time that I borrowed and make another life.
You can break my stride. There's a palace in my mind, made of light, and it shows. Yeah, yeah. The stars are falling, skies are raining gold. Yeah, yeah. Forever I'm free, that's what could be. So I'm waiting. I don't need a rush, I'm patient. However long it takes. In my head like a melody, laying back in this bed, playing back what you said, and it's not really helping me. Coming down from this high is a dangerous ride. I'm coasting, out of body floating, lost in my emotions. I've been spinning slowly, trying to keep my head above water. Then you go and pull me under. Crazy thing, I know I'm done for, stuck in this state of wonder.
Yes, 빠지게 돼 I don't care 모든 것을 대해 전부 있게 돼 And I just want you right here with me 끝이 없이 우린 floating Lost in your deep oceans 깊이 스며가 slowly
Trying to keep my head above water. Then you go and pull me under. Crazy thing, I know I'm done for, stuck in this state of wonder. Stuck in this state of wonder. Was it something in my walk, how I talk, giving off the wrong energy? Was it something in my stride, too much pride, telling you to back?